Well, now, after watching this video to the end, you'll never fear to use debt to create wealth. You know why? Most of the people tend to view debt as a liability. It is not, okay? Provided you actually apply it appropriately. Get what that debt is. A debt is actually a tool. Debt, guess what it is? It is a tool to create wealth. For those who understand it, they actually take advantage of it and they have done marvelous things with it. For those who do not, they avoid it, they keep far from it. Well, they do make it, but guess what? This is what happens with the debt. Debt is basically bringing your future today or hastening the process of you achieving. For example, let me ask a very simple question. Say, you would like to accumulate something like 10 million. Let's say you want to accumulate something like 10 million for you to actualize you building some rental houses. For example, let's say you have a piece of land somewhere, 50 by 100. See, when I say 50 by 100, most Kenyans can relate to what I'm talking about. So you have like this 50 by 100. Now, this property is what you want to develop. But the reality is you do not have the money. If you do all the calculations, you need 10 million to actualize you coming up with that structure. You do not have. Let's say you're even employed. No problem. Let's say you're even on 100,000 Kenyan shillings salary. That's like $1,000. Now the question is this. Well, let's say you're even managing to save, say, half of that, which is 50,000. So you need a couple of time, talk of years, for you to acquire this amount of money, for you to actually realize you coming up with that structure that you want to create. But again, how about you use it? Say, how about you approach, sort of a construction firm or industry or bank or a circle or anything that relates to finance. They tell them to finance you coming up with this structure. And on this basis, you tell them, guess what? This structure that I want to come up with, maybe say it's like 20 units, for example, 20 units of one bedroom. One I'm renting at 10,000. One I'm renting at 10,000. Then that means it is 20 times 10,000. Then that means I'm going to get myself how much? 20 times 10,000, that is 10,000, all right, multiplied by 20. That will be that's like 200,000. So if it's 200,000, that's what I'm gonna get. Hey, you know what, guys? Because my property here that I have, maybe let's say it's worth like 4 million. My property is worth 4 million. You're putting in the 10 million. So the total kind of a thing, it goes for 14 million. So the point is, you have obviously, now you're telling the bank or whatever the institution, now you have invested more than I have. So the question is this. Now, this 200 that we are getting, obviously, let's share this amount of money on a ratio of, let's say, 60-40% or 70-40%, 70-30% rather. Now, that depends on how you can actually negotiate yourself in the creation of the wealth. Okay, anyway, that was just an example to introduce this topic that I'm going to share about with you today. It's all about how to use the debt to create wealth. Instead of you waiting all those years, you can go ahead. Yes, I know maybe you're getting, maybe out of the 200K that you're getting each and every month, maybe you're getting maybe something like 40,000 or 50,000 or something at the end of the month, and then they're pocketing the rest for them to pay back their cash, and obviously with the interest, and later you can realize your ownership of that property. Now, the question is this. Let's say you're not even in this level. You're just level down there and you'd like to create wealth. One of the greatest mistakes that I usually see people doing when they want to get a loan for them to actually start a business, these are the mistakes. Whenever you want to start a business, this is the business here, okay? This is the business. Business is always divided into two categories. In any given business, we usually have the things that we call them the strategic things, let's just call them the things, and then we have the non-strategic things. Now, see, what happens is that most of the people, you go borrow, let's say something like 200,000. You borrow 200K to start a business. Let's say you want to start something like let's say something like a cosmetic shops, okay? You get the 200 from your circle, or you get 200 from your bank. You go start this business called the cosmetics. Now, you take this 200. What happens in any typical given cosmetics industry or a business, you need to have yourself things like, see, there's something called the business plan. Organization, how you're going to start the business. But don't over-concentrate on the business plan. Concentrate on the execution of the business, okay? Now, there's something called the shelving. You need to do shelving or shelving, depends on how you pronounce the name. See, shelving is where you're going to position all those products of yourself that you're selling. The other thing, you're going to do something called branding. You're going to do branding. Okay, this is like painting, lighting, for the business to be conspicuous and what have you. Also naming of the business and all those kind of things. The other thing, you can also do something to do with advertisement. You can as well go ahead and channel some other cash to do with something called counter. Obviously, this is from where you're going to be serving your customers from. So you see, these are the things you're going to do. These things, we call them, you're going to do something called licensing. You're going to do things like, don't call stocking, don't put stocking here. See, all the things that I've outlined here, all these are called non-strategic. You don't sell them. You don't sell the shelves. You don't sell the counter. You don't sell the branding. It helps you to sell. You don't sell these things to do with all those kind of things, okay? You don't sell the counter. You don't sell the branding. You don't sell the advertisement. You don't sell the licenses. All those are non-strategic. For example, if I take like a piece, a room like this one, I want to be selling milk, and I paint it white according to the rules and regulation. For example, in Kenya, has to be nice, elegant, and what have you. Ain't gonna sell all those kind of things, okay? Now, what happens when you take a loan? You're supposed to channel a huge chunk of that amount of money into the stock acquisition. The thing that you're gonna sell at the end of the day, it is the stocks, is the cosmetic products. Those are the things that you tend to sell, not any other thing apart from that. Now, all what you're having here, obviously you can't sell without a shelf, you can't sell without a counter, you can't sell without having a name, a brand, you can't sell without having a license. Obviously, you're gonna rub shoulders with the government of the day. So what you do, all these are important. They are okay, they are non-strategic. Together, they actually go ahead and realize the business. But what happens is that you take this 200, you find somebody is doing all these things with the 150K, and then you remain with 50K to do the stock. Guess what happens? What if this business fails? What if the business does not work? What if it reaches to a point whereby you realize, whoa, it was a toxic business, or it is a toxic business. It can no longer sustain itself. If you were to go ahead and sell that specific business, the only thing that you can sell are the shelf. You cannot sell your counter. The advertisement is gone. There is nothing like capital preservation there. Branding, you cannot even sell the branding. By the way, it does not even have like any amount of money that can be beneficial. License, kumsi kumsa, in one way or the other, yes or no, you can actually use it. But the point is this: what if you actually minimize of what you're actually doing, the shelving, you're doing all those kind of things. And sometimes I always tell people, you want to get a loan to start a business, how much are you quoting that business to be? Oh, it's 200,000. Okay, fine. What do you have? Okay, fine, I have 80,000. Fine, take your 80,000, concentrate on actualizing this thing. Do the licensing, do the renting, do the branding, do the counter making and all those kind of things. So once you do that, the 200 that you're getting from the loan or whatever the institution that it is, channel that money towards the stock acquisition. Channel that towards something you can liquidate. That's something that quote unquote is giving you what you call the capital preservation. Just in case something goes south, you can take that product, you can liquidate it and pay back. And by the way, if you ask me this, what I would do, I want to start a business worth 200,000. See, I'm going to find my 80,000, okay? I get my 80,000, my 50,000 or 60,000, try to squeeze it between actualization of these things. I take the 200,000. Remember, the back of my head, I knew I want to start a business that is worth 200. This 200, obviously, I had included all the counter, the shelving, and what have you. So I take the 200, I scoop 80 out of that, 80 that I had, that is mine, that is on the counter. I put it in a money market fund somewhere. Well, it is not idle. It's not in a bank lying idle, but it's in a money market somewhere. It is making some cash daily, okay? Just in case I need that money, just in case things go south in my business. Maybe, for example, I'm supposed to pay a loan repayment each and every month of like 15,000. I'm just throwing numbers out there. See, then you realize that, wow, this month things are a little bit tight. The sales haven't been good. Therefore, I can actually go ahead, either try to stretch myself a little bit, or if it is not possible, then I can go grab a 15 from my 80,000 that is in an MMF. Don't forget, it is an MMF. It is making some other baby money. Now I take that 15, channel it towards my business, and then try to push the business to a point whereby now, if it happens that my business will require the remaining 80 that is fixed in my MMF to actually realize itself and grow, so be it. If it is in a position whereby it can grow on itself, and this 80 that I'm having can actually be used to restock more of the products for me to push the business to the next level, or maybe to sort of channel that money towards advertisement, making people realize that there is a business that is in existence called so and so, does this and that. At that particular point, then it tells me I'm moving towards the right direction. Now, the problem that people make is this: you are being employed. You have never been into business, okay? You get out of the employment. Let's say maybe you're working in a consultancy firm, okay? Or something of sort, or you want to start a consultancy business. Now you get out of the employment, you think you need an office, think you need all those overheads, you go grab yourself a very nice room somewhere, you get the money, maybe you borrow, you get yourself some very nice furniture and what have you. You've not even created a clientele, nobody knows you, you're just getting into the market. First of all, have an online existence, all right? And if you have to take a loan, maybe it's to buy the equipment to help you go ahead and be able to make videos out there. And if you have your own cash, you can go ahead and do so. But if you want to take a loan to actually survive yourself on a business, these are some of the strategies that you're supposed to apply so that at least you can be able to realize not that kind of a crazy loss out there. So otherwise, if you go ahead and assume this kind of a things, it can actually get yourself into some of the problems that you're having. And let me tell you one secret. I've ever seen some people who are actually so good at utilizing these debts and loans to create wealth and move themselves to the next level. You can as well do exactly the thing, provided you have the best understanding of how the loans work. Now, the other problem that I usually find people doing is you take a loan, okay? You go ahead and buy yourself something like a piece of land somewhere, which is not bad. It's okay. I love lands. And by the way, I know you people, you feel like Joseph usually have a negative attitude towards lands. No, I love lands. I love real estate. By the way, if you ask me, they're like my favorite areas of investment. But I see people getting to the real estate investment where they are not yet ripe, when you're not yet on your foot, when you're not yet having some enough cash to actually take you to the next level. Do not ever, ever despise the fact that you need cash flow. So you go get that loan, you go get that piece of property somewhere, so much interior, such that that property, yes, I know there's something called the land banking. It is amazing and it is good. And a crazy thing can happen. Maybe say a road makes, a road is actually discovered in that particular area, or a mineral, whatever the thing, okay? But then now the point is this: if you do not have the ability to actually not only buy that piece of land, but as well do some other value additions, like you can do some farming in that specific piece of land. You can go ahead and start a certain project in that specific land. At times, it becomes more a liability, which is an asset that is a liability, than it is an investment. It is, unless maybe you say like, okay, fine, I have this money, I don't want to put it in this investment that you talk about. I just want to get myself a land, and I'm okay with cash flow. That way, that makes sense. There is no problem. You can do your building later. But if you're in a situation whereby you're barely surviving, at that particular point, I would say it wasn't the best idea that you can ever get yourself into. So rethink, think on what you can be able to do, adjust yourself and progress to the next level. That is exactly how we go about it. And guess what, guys? That marks the end of my video. And if you're watching me for the first time, this is Good Joseph speaking. Talk about anything related to investment, anything related to your cash, and that is what I do each and every day. So go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And by the way, if you'd like to have a conversation with me, you'd like to, go ahead and shoot me a call. My number is always on the description of this specific video. Grab that number. Let's talk business. Let's talk investments. Anything that you'd like us to talk about as far as the investments are concerned. And by the way, don't forget one thing. Hey, if you would like me to clarify some of the videos that I've ever made, some maybe you didn't understand, or me to make some, some sort of clarification or more details, or detailing them more, or something new that you'd like me to talk about, go ahead and shoot that on the comment section. Let me know. And by the way, your wish is my command. That is why I'm here to do. At all the time, share this information for us to can be beneficial to each other. See you in the next one. And don't forget to like the video, share it out if you're in a position to. See ya.